Welcome to The Truth About Cooking. I'm Virginia, and today we're gonna make some chicken kofta with a roasted garlic yogurt sauce and a watermelon cucumber salad. Perfect meal for a summer lunch or dinner. Come along with me and I'll show you how easy it is to make this. So, to start out with, I have our oven preheating. What we're gonna do is we are going to roast an entire bulb of garlic. So what we're gonna start out with is our whole bulb of garlic. We're gonna take that. We're just gonna cut the top off to expose all of those cloves. Then we're gonna pull over baking sheet, throw that in the middle. Really get that olive oil in there. We're gonna hit it, just a little bit of salt. Take our aluminum foil, wrap that up nice and tight. We're gonna throw this in the oven for 15-20 minutes, get that garlic nice and roasted. Our next step is going to be making our lime basil vinaigrette for our watermelon cucumber salad. So we have a lime. I'm gonna juice one whole lime. Okay, lime. Then we're gonna add some salt. Okay, little bit of fresh cracked black pepper. Then we're gonna take some of this fresh basil here. We're gonna use more of this basil in the salad, but I want this flavor fully infused into our dressing. Roll those up, give it a quick cut just so that it's easier for our immersion blender when we start blending to get a hold of these. It was about 3 leaves, 4 leaves of basil, depending on how big they are. Let's put little, like half a clove of garlic in there. 1/4 cup of olive oil, 1/8 of a cup of lime juice, and then we put 1/4 cup of olive oil in there. Now that that's all in, what we're gonna do, take our immersion blender and just mix that all together. I forgot an ingredient, but guess what? We can fix that real quick. Let me go grab some honey, because this is gonna be too acidic with all that lime juice if we don't add a little bit of sweetness in there. You know, balance all the flavors. So let's put about a tablespoon of honey in there. Give it another whiz, and let's give this a taste. Needs just a little bit more salt. Okay, grab yourself a new spoon. That's a rule in the kitchen. Unless you're the only one that's eating this, get a new spoon when you taste. Don't put that in your mouth, put it back in, okay? It's a rule. Lovely. Set that to the side, and we gonna grab our watermelon and our cucumber, and we're gonna throw that all in this bowl. 1 English cucumber. Go ahead and salt that just a little bit. Give it a toss. Okay, now we have our watermelon and our cucumber in our bowl. I'm just gonna toss those together a little bit. Fresh basil. That is 4 big leaves of basil. Give these a little roll, and then we're gonna do a chiffonade. Sounds fancy, but all it is just thinly slicing your basil so you get these lovely little strings that you can throw into your salad. Fresh basil, throw that in there. And then after the basil, we've got some lovely fresh mint here. Now mint is a very strong flavor, so we only want to add about 1/4 of the amount of mint as we added basil. But again, just chiffonade that mint and sprinkle it over your salad. Our beautiful lime basil dressing. And we are just gonna pour that over our cucumber watermelon. Probably only need like 2/3 of it. Dressing's in there, our herbs are in there, our watermelon's in there. Just give this a nice toss. Make sure everything's coated in your dressing. And then we're gonna set this in the fridge until it's time to eat. You want this salad nice and cold. Now that we have our salad resting in the fridge, we're gonna pull out that roasted garlic. It should be done by now. So, we have our roasted garlic. Be careful with your fingers. The aluminum foil might not be that hot, but when you open this thing up, some steam's gonna escape, so be careful. Look at that, a lovely bulb of roasted garlic. Now, it's all nice and squishy. We're gonna let that cool for a minute, and then we're gonna use that in our yogurt sauce. The next element of our dish we're gonna put together is our garlic yogurt sauce. So our garlic is cooled down now. We're gonna take some plain yogurt. I have a goat milk yogurt because I like the flavor of that in this, but you can use just regular plain Greek yogurt. We're gonna put just a little bit of olive oil, probably about 2 teaspoons, some salt, some fresh cracked pepper, a little bit of honey, again probably about the same amount as we put in olive oil, about a tablespoon, lemon zest and lemon juice. So I got my microplane, take about half of the zest off of that lemon. This is gonna add extra lemon flavor. You get the acidity from the juice. You get a lot of the flavor from the skin. So most of the time, if I'm using lemon in something, I'm using the zest and the juice, so I get the full flavor of that lemon. So about half of our lemon worth of lemon juice. We don't need a ton of lemon juice in here because we do have acidity from our yogurt already. Lastly, we're gonna take our roasted garlic and just squeeze those roasted cloves out of there. You've got roasted garlic, lemon juice, salt, pepper, honey, and olive oil, all in that yogurt sauce. Mix that all together, kind of smush those garlic cloves up in there. We can have some chunks of garlic in there, but we want it to be nice and uniform. Now that we got all that mixed in, last thing that I'm gonna add to this sauce is some fresh dill. Got some fresh dill over here, about that much. Scoop it up, throw it in. And now that is our roasted garlic dill yogurt sauce that we are going to plate our kofta on top of. Now, again, just like everything else, throw it in the fridge until you're ready. The next step is mixing up our chicken kofta mix. So what we're gonna do, I've got a box grater here with a bowl. We're gonna take half an onion and grate that into our bowl. If you don't have a finer side on your grater, grab a microplane. And we're gonna grate 3 cloves of fresh garlic in there. So we have half an onion, 3 cloves of garlic, grated up in this bowl. Next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna add about a teaspoon of smoked paprika, half a teaspoon of cumin, half a teaspoon of coriander, some salt, some fresh cracked black pepper. Okay, throw that fresh parsley in there. And then couple sprigs of fresh cilantro. And just a fun fact while we're chopping up these herbs, I told you that I put coriander in there. Coriander, in America at least, is the dried seeds of the cilantro plant. So we're using 2 different kinds of cilantro in there. 1/4 cup of, I'm using panko breadcrumbs. Use whatever breadcrumbs you have in the house. 1 pound of ground chicken. If you have a food processor, you can grind up that chicken yourself. The thing we're gonna add in here is 1 egg, and we're gonna let that sit and marinate in the fridge for just a little bit, get all those flavors to really meld together, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna make some meatballs out of this after it's sit for a little bit. The next step is to make our kofta balls. So we have our chicken mix here. Roll it up in your hands. Now we're kind of looking to make like, not necessarily balls, but more of footballs, if you will. Okay? Roll this all up. Lay it on our sheet pan. I have a silicone baking mat on this, but if you don't have that, throw some parchment paper on. But you are gonna want something on your baking pan, okay? Because these things are gonna wanna stick if you just put it straight onto a pan, and that's not gonna be fun for you. I am going to be baking these in the oven at 350, but if you feel like using the grill, you can throw these things on the grill too. They're just chicken kebabs, basically. Now you wanna make sure that these are roughly the same size, because by making sure that they're the same size, not only are they going to look pretty in your presentation, but they are going to cook at the same time. And most of the time when you hear chefs talking about making sure your knife cuts are the same or your portions are the same, it's really because they're trying to make sure that everything is cooked at the same time. And if you have big ones and small ones, the small ones are gonna cook, the big ones are gonna be raw in the middle. We don't wanna play that game with chicken. In the oven at 350 for probably about 15-20 minutes. These aren't super big, so they're gonna cook pretty quickly. Okay, we now have our chicken kofta out of the oven. Those are all ready. Now we're gonna get out our yogurt sauce and our watermelon cucumber salad, and we're gonna plate all of that up. Our yogurt sauce with that lovely roasted garlic in it. I've sprinkled a little bit more fresh cracked pepper and some smoked paprika on top of here, garnished with cilantro and parsley and dill. So you've got like all of these nice big pieces of herb right in each bite. And then what we're gonna do is our nice warm kofta here that just came out of the oven. We're gonna take these and we're just going to set them in our yogurt sauce. Just like that. And that is our chicken kofta with roasted garlic yogurt. And then we also have here our beautiful cucumber watermelon salad. And the last thing to add to our plate are some beautiful crispy fried shallots. We're gonna sprinkle this right over our cucumber watermelon salad. Do not add these ahead of time. They'll get all soggy from the juice of the fruit and the vegetable and the vinaigrette. Make sure that you just do this as a last sprinkle at the end. And that is chicken kofta with roasted garlic yogurt sauce and cucumber watermelon salad with a basil lime vinaigrette. Let's give it a taste. The watermelon with those crispy shallots, that difference in texture, absolutely delicious. The chicken kofta is amazing, so nice. It's got lots of moisture in there. Chicken doesn't dry out at all with all of that extra moisture we incorporated in our mix. And this cucumber watermelon salad, those crispy shallots, you guys gotta try this one. Dig in, enjoy, and let me know if you love this as much as I do, because this has definitely been one of my go-to dishes lately.